welcome to the premiere episode of the 80s Team Show. Whee! Welcome, guys and girls. I'm your host, Dano. I'll be here each and every week, hopefully bringing you some fun and laughter, tears of joy, taking us all back to when we were kids, maybe teenagers, the 1980s. I am personally a 1980s collector. I collect everything, and this show represents what I remember of the 1980s, and this is my own personal collection. Some parts I'll be showing beaters, but some of you out there know what beaters are. Every week we'll be having fun, laughter, we'll have quizzes, sometimes we'll have competitions, and then everything will be not state of the art, because during the 1980s, we'll remember, we had wobbly sets, things didn't go right, camera mics was in shot all the time. Now, what we're going to start to do, I want to tell you what's coming up on the 80s team. Hey!
Yay.
Let's get going with the premiere episode. Like I said, we're the 80s team. We're going back to the 1980s. That's right, we're going back to the 80s. People said to me I was stupid to start my own 80s show. I said, why not? We all grew up watching great presenters of the 1980s, and I thought, I want to take a shot at that. So this is what it's for. I grew up with great TV presenters, like the great Andy Crane with Ed the Duck. And we all remember they had Wilson. Well, I've got the cameraman.
Hello.
It's just simply known as the cameraman. We all remember the wonderful Andy Peters and one of the best children's TV presenters, Philip Schofield, with Gordon the Gopher. Now, they weren't the only really presenters of the 80s, were they? You're thinking, I'm sure I remember someone else. What could it be? Of course, think to yourself. You school holidays, you turn on TV AM. No, not Anna Nick, not Wincy Willis, or your mum or sister doing Lizzie Webb with the exercise. No, that's right, Running Rat, superstar. We grew up on him with Errol, the Ratmobile, Rat on the Road. But then, during the school holidays, when we was all off for school, and what are we going to do in the mornings? Do we sleep in? No, we ain't going to sleep in, because we slept in with Miss the Wild Awake Club, with Timmy Mallet. But then, you had his co-presenters, the great Michaela Strachan, Tommy Boyd, and in later years, you had Mike Myers. Yes, you remember him of A Wayne's World. And we all remember Timmy Mallet with Mallet's Mallet, which coming up in a few weeks, I'll be doing a live quiz show. Trust the A's to fall down, eh? Doing a live version of Mallet's Mallet with a member of the admin team and her brother. Yes, that's up in a few weeks, and that is on camera. And we all remember the 1980s and the great wedding, not Charles and Dinah, of Scott and Charlene, Jason Donovan, Kylie Minogue. Now, coming up, we're going to have each week, it's called Inside the Sack. I'll show you the sack, then you have to comment what is inside the sack. Following week, I'll pull out the sack, and that is the thing we'll be concentrating on for that week. Now, we all have our toys, we all have our movies, cartoons in the 1980s. All that was brilliant. When you was a kid, your imagination just ran wild. So, what we're going to do this week, we're going to start off with toy review. Toy review of actual 1980s toys. not imitations, the proper stuff. This week we'll be talking about heroes and villains. That's right, we all remember the heroes and villains in the 1980s. You know, you good guys versus bad guys. So what we're going to start doing, we're going to start off with the good guys and bad guys. And I'll show you some of them right now. So what we're going to start off with, you all remember Transformers with the dreaded Decepticons. With the Decepticons, you can't have Decepticons without the Autobots. And we all know the leader of the Autobots was Optimus Prime. And the leader of the Decepticons was Megatron. They fought on Cybertron, but then they brought their fight to Earth. Many things happened. Many Autobots died, many Decepticons died. But then come the brilliant, I think you remember it, Transformers the movie. When unfortunately, in there, Megatron was killed. Optimus Prime sadly passed away as well. Apart from that, just got to get these all set up. Talking about heroes and villains. Here we have Centurions. Power! Extreme. That's where you get a little bit of body armour to stick on the figures, just like the cartoon. But then their arch nemesis was the dreaded Dark Terror. Oh. And his human cyborg, Hacker. That's right, there was 3 Centurions. You had Ace McCloud, Max Ray, and Jake Rockwell. And we all know that they come from Skybolt. But more about the Centurions coming up in future editions. But I know what you're looking at. Yes, it is. It's Bravestar. Eyes of the hawk, ears of the puma. But I know what you're going to say. It's the speed of the puma. But it's my show, innit? We all know that Bravestar's arch nemesis, Tex-X. Tex-X, right? Right? Pow, pow, pow. Obviously, we have sound effects. Things go wrong on 80 shows, just like what happened years ago with Blue Peter. There goes Bravestar. Let's start again with the wonderful, I don't care what people say. Alright, let me just get this sorted out. Thundercats. That's right, Thundercats. What we have here, we have Mum-Ra, the ever-living, and then we have the Lord of the Thundercats, Lion-O, with obviously Sword of Omens, the Claw Shield. Now, the Thundercats come from Thundera onto the Third Earth. Third Earth, they was chased by the mutants. When the mutants come and they met Mum-Ra. And from there, Mum-Ra was Lion-O's arch nemesis. You had Slive, Monkey and Jackalman, the mutants. You had many others, but that we will explore in future episodes of the 80 Team show. Like I said, all this is state of the art. Like I said, but don't forget, the 1980s, one of the best toys. Yes, I know what you're saying. It's Skeletor. But I mean, if there's Skeletor, you're right. There's He-Man. You can't have He-Man without Skeletor. Skeletor without He-Man. It's like you can't have jam without toast. You can't have egg without chips. Just like you can't have He-Man without Skeletor. But like I said, coming up, obviously they're going to be He-Man. We're going to talk about it. We're gonna have we're gonna look on the girls' side of the toys. We're gonna have mask. We're gonna have miscellaneous items. And I just want to say this today in the post. Yes, in the post. I got through some of the beautiful 1980s confectionery. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the wrappers. The real Ghostbusters chocolate wrapper. Original. Still smells a bit like chocolate. But then also got the real Ghostbusters gummies. Original wrapper. Beautiful, isn't it? But all this will be coming up in the coming weeks on the 80s theme show. So what I'll do, I'll sign off, right? Obviously, like I said, we're very state on the art on this show. So we're going to sign off and say, see you next week. But remember, send in your questions. What's in the sack? Who knows? Find out next week. Right here on the 80s show. Whee!